Hello there and welcome to my channel. Today's tutorial is about a waved checkered bag. I see this handbag everywhere in every shop. It is very fashion right now, so I thought why I don't make one all by myself. And actually I've seen a few tutorials online that they do this checkered bag waved, but actually they use the slip stitch, which takes ages to do. So I thought, why would I use slip stitch when I can use another stitch for more beginner friendly? And actually the stitch that I'm using is half double crochet, which is very easy to do. So I made this bag for all you beginners out there. In case you do want to make this checkered waved bag, then it's also the bag for you. You can do it by yourself. You can find the written pattern on my website, link in the description box below. Also all the links to the materials that I have used, I will drop them in the description box, and also of course you can find it on the written pattern in my website as well. If you are new around here, I hope you are considering to subscribe and turn on the notification bell, because it will immediately notify you about new videos that I post every week about crochet. And also, if you are an old subscriber, thank you for sticking with me for all this time and for helping me on making decisions, on choosing yarns and answering also my questions. So a big thank you to my old subscribers as well. And without further ado, let's just dive into it. For this bag, I'm using a kind of cord type of yarn which they call macrame in green, and later on in light beige with a 3.5 mm hook. I started with a slip knot and crocheted 50 chain stitches. For this bag, I am using half double crochet. For the first row, I skipped 2 chain stitches, yarned over, inserted the hook at 3rd chain from the hook, yarned over, pulled the loop. Once I have 3 loops on the hook, I yarned over again and pulled through the 3 loops. This is a half double crochet. Continue crocheting half double crochet on each chain stitch to the end of the row. In total, I had 48 half double crochet stitches once I arrived at the end. Then I crocheted 2 chain stitches, turned my work, yarned over, skipped 2 chains, and I inserted the hook at 3rd stitch from the hook, right there where I point with the scissors, grabbing both loops of the stitch. I made a half double crochet and continued crocheting 1 half double crochet on each stitch to the end of the row. Again, I had 48 half double crochet stitches. I kept repeating the same pattern of the second row 3 more times, remembering that for each turn to the new row I had to crochet 2 chain stitches and then continue with the half double crochet. Once I made 5 rows of half double crochet, I moved on to make the second section of 5 half double crochet rows. So I crocheted again 50 chain stitches. This is how my work looked like. If the chain row is a bit shorter, it doesn't matter, because once we work on top of the other rows, it will elongate. Then I just repeated the same pattern of the first section. I kept crocheting to the end of the chain row, in total 48 half double crochet stitches. I continued crocheting the second row with half double crochet and so on until I had 5 rows. I crocheted this pattern until I had 13 sections with green color, which make the width of the bag. Once I finished 13 sections, I changed color to light beige by cutting the green and making a very tight knot with the two ends. Next, I crocheted 105 chain stitches with a beige color. Again, it might be a bit shorter than the length of the 13 sections, but it will elongate once I crochet the other rows. I crocheted the same pattern that I used for the green sections, but crocheting 103 half double crochet stitches per each row. So I skipped 2 stitches and half double crochet on the third chain stitch from the hook. Then I continued crocheting another 102 half double crochet stitches to the end of the row. The idea of crocheting the long beige sections is to wave them with the green as shown. So then I continued crocheting 4 more rows with 103 half double crochet stitches each. In total, one section had 5 half double crochet rows, same as the green. Then I went on and made 4 more sections, so 5 sections in total with beige color. Then I placed them all in a row and started to wave the beige one with the green. Waving it once under and next on top of the green. Then I continued with the second beige section, but switching the position from each green section. What went up at the first section now went under, and so on for the next to the end. I waved all the 5 sections with the green, creating this checkered pattern. Then I fixed the ends of each section on 2 sides with markers and pins. At the shorter side, I had some beige sections that were a bit longer. Probably I worked with looser tension there, but it's not a big deal. I tucked them at the back and I will attach them with a green. Everything will work out at the end, you will see. Once all is in place and I have one panel to work with, I continued crocheting with a beige yarn, which by the way I did not cut. So now I will just go around crocheting a border like with single crochet and in the same time attaching the green sections with the beige ones. So I pulled the beige loop in the front and single crochet. Then I inserted the hook at the next stitch of the green section, going through the beige section at the back as well, pulling a loop, yarning over again, and pulling through the 2 loops on the hook. I don't have a fixed quantity of stitches that I made for each side since I went on with the eye on this. Crocheting more single crochet stitches when I had to expand the sections and crocheting less when I wanted to tighten things up. At the corners I crocheted 3 single crochet stitches in 1 stitch, so I could have a beautiful corner. I continued crocheting this way all four sides of the panel. The measurements of the panel after attaching all the sections together were 55.5 centimeters or 22 inch wide and 25.5 centimeters or 10 inch high. To close the last stitch of the border, I inserted the hook from the back to the front of the first stitch of the border and pulled the last loop at the back. I pulled then some yarn and cut it, hitting the end at the back with a tapestry needle. Once I had finished working with the panel, I lined it so that the bag stays more clean and nothing slips through the waved pattern. I had some polyester cotton blend fabric. I marked the measurements of the crocheted panel on it and cut out the fabric lining. I placed it on top of the wrong side of the panel and fixed it with pins. Then with a sewing needle and matching thread, I sewed the lining as shown. Once the lining was sewed in, this is how my work looked like. The pattern for the folding is 4 checkered sections at the front, 1 at the bottom, 4 at the back, 1 section on the top, and 3 sections folding over at the front. Now on to the strap. I made the strap with green, but I'm just showing you as a short version with beige since this is just simple half double crochet rows. So I started with a chain of 175. I skipped 2 chains and crocheted half double crochet at the third chain. Continued to the end of the row, in total 173 stitches. For the rest of the 3 rows, I continued crocheting 173 half double crochet stitches for each row. Same way I crocheted the green and beige sections, but for the strap I crocheted just 4 rows instead of 5. Here is the strap I made. Approximately 94 centimeters long or 37 inch. Now time to sew the strap like so. With a tapestry needle and beige yarn, I first sewed one end of the strap to the 5th checkered section, which is the section for the bottom of the bag. Then with simple sewing as shown, I sewed the end of the strap to the bottom section of the bag. Once the first end of the strap is finished, I continued sewing with the same yarn the front panel to one side of the strap. Remember that front panel had 4 checkered sections. Once front panel was sewn, I cut the yarn, hidden the end, and sewed the back panel of the bag with the other side of the strap. Again, remember that back panel has 4 checkered sections. Hide the ends and sew the other end of the strap following the same steps. So, how does it look?